SCP-6599. If you see a user named Hogslice in my comment section, do yourself a favor and don't insult him, because he's not going to let that hog slide. Hogslice is, in theory, a random user account. In reality, it appears across most of the internet, posting hundreds of times a day and exclusively using all caps to insult anyone it encounters. So naturally, people insult him back. And that's where the problem starts, because about 40% of the time, a massively muscular humanoid resembling a professional wrestler with badass sunglasses will manifest near you in real life, and he does not explain. He just beats you senseless, yells at you, and leaves. Take the beetle forum incident. On a Japanese insect fighting forum, Hogslice barged in to brag about his beetle and insult everyone else's. After a heated argument, he appeared inside a man's house by erupting through the floorboards, beat him while asking if he'd seen Rocky, dumped cages of insects onto him, and finished with an elbow drop. Then, he vanished. The Foundation tried everything to stop him. Eventually, they escalated to a heavily armed agent wielding a reality-cutting knife. What followed was an absurdly cinematic fight that ended not with containment, but mutual respect. Hogslice disappeared, complimenting the agent on the way out, and then something unexpected happened. Hogslice came back online, but calmer. Instead of insulting everyone, he started asking for life advice, posting on therapy forums and talking about his anger issues. Then, after 2 years of silence, the Foundation got an email. It said Hogslice quit the internet for a while, told them the knife agent was cool, and signed the message as Hognice, SCP-666J. Some people believe that women are the worst drivers, but if there's one person you should actually be afraid of getting into a car with, it's a middle-aged man named Dr. Gerald. Because statistically speaking, getting in his car is the last decision you will ever make. It doesn't matter what he's driving. Sedan, bus, tank, even a lawnmower. If Dr. Gerald is in control of the vehicle, every passenger is guaranteed to die. And no, jumping out doesn't save you. People who bailed out mid-drive were immediately struck by unrelated trucks that just happened to be there. Others collapsed from sudden heart failure in completely empty parking lots. One subject parachuted out of a helicopter and was hit by a falling vending machine. Dr. Gerald, meanwhile, completely fine, not even a scratch. But that's not all. When he takes the wheel, reality itself becomes accident-prone. Buildings collapse as he passes. Fuel trucks explode from gentle taps. And pedestrians calmly step into traffic like their brain just turned to shit. During one test, Gerald rode a moped through a small town and caused destruction comparable to a natural disaster. Can you imagine? Eventually, someone in the research team asked, "Do rollerblades count as a vehicle?" So they gave Dr. Gerald a helmet, a pair of rollerblades, and pointed him toward an enemy headquarters in Tehran. And let's just say, they count. But through all of this, Dr. Gerald remains completely calm and totally oblivious. He truly believes he's a safe driver, despite the fact that he is quite literally driving everyone insane. Thankfully, containment is quite simple. Just don't let the guy drive. Because if Dr. Gerald is steering, everyone else is already en route to their funeral. The SCP-5991. Have you ever said to yourself, "I'm so hungry I could eat a Bible right now"? No, me neither. But apparently, someone actually went ahead and did it. And what happened after was weird as hell, or heaven, to say the least. SCP-5991 is an anomaly that triggers the moment a human successfully consumes a complete Christian Bible. Forks are allowed. Ketchup is not. And once the last page goes down, something just appears. Standing directly in front of the subject is now a pale, skinny humanoid with only a mouth and a crown of thorns. Just in case the symbolism wasn't obvious enough. But he's not here to deliver a sermon. He's here to unhinge its jaw and eat you. Inside its stomach, the victim lands in what can only be described as an abandoned theme park. There's a visitor center with a dusty 2004 Dell computer, a gift shop selling Jesus-themed merchandise. And then, right at the center, a lone figure sits reading from a blank page, with wrists bound by broken chains. If your first thought was, Jesus Christ, that's exactly who it is. Eventually, subjects can leave by pressing a large orange sack, which knocks them unconscious and deposits them safely back where they started. So, hell yeah, I guess. Anyway, containment is a nightmare. Christianity is quite popular, and you can't exactly confiscate every Bible on Earth. So instead, the Foundation struck a formal agreement with the Vatican requiring all published Bibles to contain 2 milliliters of honey in the binding. Because apparently, a sticky spine is all that stands between you and Jesus land. God help us all. SCP-4759. For the past few years, something strange has been quietly slipping into state legislatures across the country. For some reason, someone keeps sneaking in a donut genocide bill. We're talking thousands of words of complete legal gibberish, except for one very specific section, a 10 to 90% sales tax on all donuts. And the goofiest part? Lawmakers read this and think it's perfectly reasonable. They debate it, they analyze it, even nod seriously. But don't be fooled. This wasn't their idea. You see, SCP-4759 is a cognitohazard that rewires the brain of anyone reading the bill, convincing them that eliminating donuts is not only logical, it's necessary. Support the bill, and you'll get insomnia, nightmares, and flour allergy. And if that somehow doesn't stop you, he will. It's SCP-4759A, a 6-foot knight made entirely of compressed donuts, armor, lance, and horse. He materializes by stealing every donut within a 10-mile radius, compressing them into his body, and challenging the bill's sponsor to single combat. Win, and he disappears. Lose, and you vote no. Refuse to fight, and he comes back tomorrow. For years, the Foundation just kept glazing the guy. I mean, why stop a donut paladin protecting America's God-given right to affordable diabetes? But then, Alabama Senator Vivian Davis Figures pushed the bill too hard. So the knight did what any reasonable knight would do. He stabbed her. Her skin tore. And what was underneath surprised everyone. Because there were bagels, a lot of them. She won the duel, ripped off her human disguise, and fled the scene. No one has seen her since, so the Foundation filed it under golfing accident, because apparently this was never about taxes. It was a carb war. And Big Bagel just went underground. SCP-7400. If you've ever felt bad about bullying a League of Legends player, you shouldn't. At least not according to this SCP. SCP-7400 is a bureaucratic anomaly that causes laws, rules, and social norms to accidentally agree on one thing. Playing League of Legends is immoral, illegal, and punishable by extreme consequences, usually execution. The important part is that no law ever directly says League of Legends is banned. Instead, the rules just bend a little. Here's how it works. A city passes a gaming curfew. Another law regulates online harassment. And a religious group condemns certain behaviors. On their own, none of these matter. But when SCP-7400 is active, these unrelated rules overlap in just the right way, so that playing League of Legends technically violates all of them at once. And the weirdest part? Everyone instantly understands it. Judges, coworkers, governments, even your friends all suddenly agree that yes, this makes sense, and yes, League players deserve consequences. Take the first recorded case where one guy casually typed LOL in a text message. His friend immediately cut him off, like he'd admitted to something deeply wrong. From there, things escalated fast. By 2022, the United Nations finalized things with the Convention on League of Legends, officially classifying all players as members of a terrorist movement. And they all agreed on one thing: shoot first, ask questions later. But unfortunately for the wrongdoers, it doesn't end there. Foundation research into the afterlife confirmed that people who owned Riot accounts get sorted straight into hell. No appeals or whatsoever. So yeah, if you've ever played League of Legends, confess in the comments. I dare you. SCP-015. If you're a plumber, this SCP will absolutely drain the life out of you. And yes, I meant that literally. You see, SCP-015 is a massive, self-growing network of pipes that completely fills an entire warehouse. There are over 190 kilometers of pipe inside a single structure, and it's made from materials that pipes should not be made from, in my opinion. Think bones, wood, glass, stone, ash, even human flesh. I mean, how is a turd gonna flush through pipes made of flesh? Makes absolutely no sense, right? Left unobserved, SCP-015 extends itself underground, searching for sewer systems and plumbing networks to connect to. At one point, it successfully attached itself to 11 nearby buildings. That's when the Foundation decided this was no longer a monitor the situation. Luckily, cutting it back worked, though people surviving the process mostly didn't. Because SCP-015 reacts badly to interference. If you try to fix anything, pipes rupture and spray whatever they currently contain, including boiling oil, insects, rats, mercury, human organs, or molten iron. The bursts continue until you leave, or stop being alive. So, one piece of advice. 1, don't carry tools. And 2, don't try to repair anything. Ignore that, and you'll probably end up among the 11 confirmed dead, or the 20 still missing. Or even better, you might join the people who are reportedly heard banging and screaming from inside the pipes. So yeah, the pressure is on. SCP-1689. In the early 2000s, a Russian official noticed something that shouldn't have been possible. There was a remote village with nearly 200 people who had no farmland, no livestock, no supply trucks, and no outside contact for over 40 years. And yet, they were healthy, well-fed, and thriving. So naturally, the Foundation went looking for the miracle. What they found was a single burlap sack, completely ordinary. That is, until they looked inside. Because inside, filled to the brim, were potatoes. And listen, I love a good potato. But the villagers treated it like a sacred object. And whenever researchers asked where it came from, they gave the same warning: never reach too deep. So naturally, someone reached too deep. At first, everything feels normal. Your hand passes the first layer of potatoes. Then it keeps going and going. You expect to hit the bottom any second now, except there is no bottom. You see, the inside of SCP-1689 is an extra-dimensional space, measuring at least 10,000 cubic meters, completely packed with potatoes in every direction. Obviously, the Foundation decided to remove some, and that's when the sack reacted. Tumor-like bulges formed on the potato surfaces, splitting open, becoming new, fully grown potatoes. The growth doubles roughly every 2 hours, meaning SCP-1689 actively refuses to stay empty. And here's the unsettling part. They're completely normal, perfectly safe to eat. So if you know someone who loves McDonald's fries, just refer them to this McSack instead. Anyway, containment is simple. Keep the sack sealed, don't remove too many, and under absolutely no circumstances should anyone climb inside. Because if you go too far down, you might end up as part of the harvest. SCP-2980. You know that tiny nightlight in the corner of your room? The one that makes the dark feel less scary? Yeah, about that. At first glance, SCP-2980 looks like the cheapest thing you could possibly plug into a wall. Clear bulb, red base, and an aggressively cheerful smiley face printed on both sides. Completely forgettable. But then, 8:30 p.m. happens. Every night. At exactly 8:30, it turns on. Doesn't matter if it's unplugged. Doesn't matter if the outlet is dead. It turns on. And the moment it does, every other light in the room begins to fade, until the only thing left glowing is that stupid smiling face. And that's when you notice you're not alone. Something is standing in the room. It's tall, hooved, with curled horns and deep red skin. That silhouette alone is enough to make your brain start rehearsing your last words, because it looks like the devil just paid you a visit. But he doesn't attack. Instead, he adjusts his glasses, pulls out a book, and starts reading you a bedtime story in the most soothing voice you've ever heard. And let me tell you, the stories are surprisingly wholesome. Well, that is if you forget about the baby being tucked in by a blanket made of souls, or the demon building a rocket ship out of human bones. Anyway, the longer he reads, the heavier your eyelids get until you fall asleep. When you wake up 9 hours later, you feel incredible and fully rested. So, hell yeah, I guess. If you enjoyed this whole lot of chaos, drop a like before a donut night challenges you to single combat, and subscribe. Because trust me, there are way weirder SCPs we haven't even touched yet.